All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out this evening to this Candidates Night, sponsored by the Community Minority Cultural Center and African American Leadership Council. It's important for each and every one of us to take some time out in our busy schedules to try to take care of the business of the city. Business that's going to affect each and every one of us, whether it be something that deals in your everyday lives to the education of your children, how the cities run, all these different things that take place. And the election turnout over the past election cycle was not quite exactly what we would want it to be, but I always look at it this way. Those people who are here today are the ones that are meant to be here. But we have an obligation as well to put our best foot forward and take that information back to people who were not able to make it because we don't know why they were not able to make it this evening. But we all realize it's important. That's why we have people who are running for office. And I'd like to take this opportunity to applaud each and every one of you who thought it was important enough to improve your city to run for office. Now this evening, this candidates night is going to consist of all the candidates that are running. School committee will be running. Ward councilors are running, and councilors at large. There's no mayor's race this year, all right? But it doesn't stop the business of the city. We have to continue. We're going to start this evening with the school committee. We have the first two come up, Tiffany Magnolia and Ms. Andrea Chataway. All right, we're going to share this mic. The format we're going to use is I'm going to have each one of the candidates start by reaching into this hat. There's going to be either a 1 or a 2 on a piece of paper here that decides who's going to go first and who's going to go second.
Oh, fine. It was a scribble on the back.
You go first.
Okay.
All right. Tiffany's going to start.
Am I good?
You should be. Yeah, you should be.
Okay.
Okay, hold on, Tiff. Okay. You have 2 minutes for your opening statement. Go right ahead.
Hi. Thank you so much for this opportunity. So my name's Tiffany Magnolia. I am mom of a middle schooler who has her very first school dance tonight. So I just want to apologize in advance that I will need to scoot out because as anyone who has a middle schooler knows or was a middle schooler, this is a big deal. And so mom has to pick her up in order to process the school dance. So I just wanted to preface this with saying, absolutely, I have been at, this is now my third forum, third time running, and I've stayed until the bitter end every time, but this time I'm gonna scoot out. So a little bit about myself. Obviously I'm a mom of a Lynn Public School student. I also am a professor at North Shore Community College. And the reason that I ran initially in 2019, that I ran again in 2021, and that I am running again here in 2023 is because I think it's essential to have parent voices on the school committee. I think our direct day-to-day experience gives us an insight into what's happening that is really easy to sort of miss amidst the noise if you're just hearing about it from the outside. So that's the first part. The second part is being a professor at North Shore, I do have the perspective of what our graduates are emerging with in terms of skill sets, strengths, but also where there's deficits. One of the things that I often see is that students kind of don't know what they can do now that they're done. And I end up, doing a lot of advising with those students. One of my favorite students was a tech graduate who went all through carpentry and just really wanted to be a doctor someday. But she had started on the carpentry path at tech. She finished a carpentry path at tech, and she was doing all of her pre-med stuff at the college. And really helping students to see what it is they can do, where they can go. That's what I do in my day-to-day job. It's really important to me to make sure that, they get that kind of assistance. But in addition, I would say as a Girl Scout leader, as someone on the board of the Latina Center Marias, I get to see a lot of different facets of this city, and I bring all of that experience to bear on my work in the school committee. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
They don't know. I'll hold this up. So look over here when you have 30 seconds left.
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity of being here. My name is Andrea Sadoway. I am a lifelong Lynn resident. I myself attended the Lynn Public School Systems. I went to Ingalls, Marshalls, and Tech. I also am a former Lynn Public School nurse. When I graduated from Tech, I actually went on to become a nurse, and I'm currently a nurse practitioner. And I am certified in family and pediatrics. I also am a mentor to youth on Friday nights. I am running for school committee basically for my kids and yours. I have 3 children. 2 are currently in the Lynn Public School System, and 1 will be entering next year. And I want to be, just like she said, a parent's voice as well. I want everybody to have the opportunity to reach their highest level of academic achievement and expand their potential. And that's basically, the simple reason of why I'm running. My number 1 priority is safety. And that includes structural deficits as well. We know the issues that we face, and I feel like, having the perspective of being in the Lynn Public School System, I already know the challenges that we face. Being a former Lynn Public School nurse, I've worked with IEPs, so I want to advocate for also special education. My main things are student achievement and educational training, where I went to Tech and was able to graduate and go on to become a nurse practitioner. There is a capacity at Tech, and so not everybody has the opportunity to do that, so I want to be able to create some other pathways for other people to be able to be successful as well, because you don't just have to go to Tech to be successful. So that's the reason why I'm running. Thank you.
Question? We're ready.
Okay. Tiffany, you started, so you can give Andrea the mic back.
Oh, you're gonna make sure. There you go.
Ms. Satterwhite is going to answer the first question. Ms. Satterwhite, during the first week of school, there was an incident involving a weapon with a student. What steps would you take in order to ensure other students as well as parents that our schools are safe?
So one of the ideas that I kind of proposed on my website and as my platform is I am in favor of the resource officers. I think that, currently we can't have resource officers in every school because of the budget. It all comes down to the funds, unfortunately. But I do see that when you drive around, when there's details in the city of Lynn, that there are other officers. They say Linfield, Peabody, other police officers. And I think that we should be able to create a community partnership where we could also use them as well, to have them inside the schools, to at least at minimum staff those schools that are of high population. Currently my daughter goes to English, and it's a very overcrowded school. And of course there's, violence incidents and things like that we have to deal with. And I think that is the bare minimum. I think that there's also boundaries for having having resource officers as well. But I do think that would be very helpful.
Thank you.
So I think it's really important when we talk about safety to realize that the world is a slightly different place post-pandemic than it was pre-pandemic. What our kids are dealing with is not the same as what they were dealing with pre-pandemic. Lynn has taken a lot of steps to have the best ratio of social workers to kids in the entire state. Right now we're leading the state in this. And anything that we put in place kind of after the fact, after a student gets pushed to the point of violence, is really almost too late at that point. So on the school committee, we put into place a protective sweeps policy that is designed to basically stop problems before they start, but that is not enough if it does not go along with a culture shift that deals with trauma, that deals with mental health challenges, and that deals with things that students are facing, like housing insecurity, like food insecurity, and nobody that they can turn to when they have problems, so that the only response they feel is appropriate is violence. We cannot be part of the school to prison pipeline. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ladies. Thank you. We're going to end this segment by allowing our candidates to ask one question of each other if they so choose. We're going to start with
Tiffany?
Tiffany.
Yeah.
You can start again.
I don't think I have a question for you. Is that okay?
Do you have a question for me?
I do.
Okay.
I don't. Just curious as to how you would say your relationships with your colleagues are on the school committee, and how do you feel like that impacts how you govern on the committee?
Yeah, so I feel like I have a very good working relationship with the folks on the committee. I definitely bring a lot of knowledge and experience from a lot of educational advocacy I've done over the years. I think it's really important when you're in a leadership role in the committee. A lot of us are, chairs of subcommittees, to understand the rules, to understand like what should come before the subcommittee, what should come before the committee of the whole, and to make sure that things are working really smoothly. And I think I definitely bring that experience to bear.
All right, thank you for that.
Yeah.
All right, thank you very much. Next for the school committee, we have Dugan and Bryant Brown. Stacy? Let's see who goes first.
All right. Choose it. What do you got there? Give me the evil eye. You have to go first. That's it. You're the toe. Oh, there you go. All right, thank you. Great.
Good evening, everyone. Can everyone hear me?
She does better. Come on. You don't have to.
They want me to stand up because they know by me working, well, first of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Stacy Bryant Brown, and I am a candidate for a school committee. And I am a Lynn juvenile court officer. I've been a court officer there for over 20 years. So, the reason why they said stand up is because I'm used to standing at work. When you speak, you're supposed to stand, and that's in my head. But that being said, I'm a longtime resident of Lynn. I graduated from Lynn Classical High School. After that, I graduated from Selma State College, got my bachelor's degree in criminal justice, and I am running for school committee because of my kids. I may not have given birth to children, but I have a whole lot of work kids. I call them my work kids, my church kids. Everybody's my kids. And I will go above and beyond for my kids. So my work kids they mean everything to me. Education, I value education. I want them to be educated. I want the best for them. Also, my kids, education, they need a voice. I am their voice. They need a champion. That champion is me. They need someone that's going to encourage them. I talk to them every chance I get. I encourage them. You can do this. You can do this. It's not too late. It's not too late to turn your life around. And they begin to trust me, and they open up to me. And I like that, because at some point, they're going to need a safe haven. Safe haven could be me, you, school, anybody, as long as they have someone to talk to, especially when they're in trouble, because I'm dealing with that a lot. But I am glad to be their voice for them, because I want them to have the best education as well. I want better for them. One says, I say, what do you want to be? Oh, a doctor. No, say it louder. You want to be a doctor. You can do this. You can do this. So that being said, I am number 7 on the ballot, and I'm the champion for my babies.
All right, I gotta stand. She's a little more spry than me, but yeah, a little overweight. I've been teaching all day. But anyway, my name's Eric Dugan. I'm running for re-election to the school committee, so I'm an incumbent. I'm just finishing up my first term, and I'm running for a couple reasons. First of all, I love the city of Lynn. Actually, my first house was right up here on Sewell Street. Both of my children were born there. We've since moved, sold, and moved, but my wife and I, our roots are here. We've dug in deep, and I'm an educator as well, so I can bring something to the table, and I'm running to help my community. I've done everything that you could possibly do in the field of education, from obviously classroom teaching, what I'm doing right now. I teach 3rd grade, little guys all day, so I am tired, so forgive me. But I teach 3rd grade, and I've done administrative work, I've bargained contracts, I've been a union steward in my building, so I've done all different types of things, and all that experience I bring to the table with the school committee. And I think over the course of my first term, that stuff was able to be on display, especially with curriculum decisions that were made. You know, I understand the jargon that the teachers are coming to us, the curriculum directors, I get what they're saying. Not to say my colleagues don't, but I think I get a little bit deeper, you know, because I'm living it. I experience it every single day. So I understand all that, and all that goes into my decisions. I'm the chair of the policy subcommittee as well, so again, all that educational policy that I have experienced that I can take out of my tool belt can go into that as well. So, like I said, Eric Dugan, I'm an educator, and I love the city of Lynn, and I'm running to bring my experience and make a better experience for our students and our babies in the city. So, thank you. Number 4 on the ballot.
All right.
I gotta go back down.
Eric, great job. Stacy started last time. I'm going to start the questioning with you.
Okay,
All
I'm gonna
right.
stand back up. All right, here we go.
Okay,
That was a little quicker. That was all right.
get ready. There has been a recent uptick in the school districts across the country, speaking about the banning of certain books from our libraries, also the banning of the use of cell phones in school. What are your thoughts on the banning of books and cell phones in our schools?
Okay, let's start with the books. Completely against that. That question was asked at a previous forum that we had. If we start banning books, we start losing education for our students. Books bring kids to another world. Books teach kids our history. Books teach kids, accepting and how to accept other members of our community. So they're very important. Grade level, obviously, I teach 3rd grade. I wouldn't be teaching books that, high school students learning in 3rd grade, but, taking those books out of the library, completely inappropriate and really not good policy at all. Kids need to see all sides of it. They need to see our history, good, bad, ugly, whatever. They need to see that, so those things that happen that are bad won't be repeated. Because educated children that are well-read, are the children that are going to take over for us when we get older. So we want to make sure that they're getting everything they can possibly get. Banning books, absolutely not. That's just a horrible idea. Cell phones, real quick. That's part of the world nowadays. And kids, I left my house. This is a funny story. I left my house without my cell phone today. I got to Wyoming Square and I was freaking out. I was absolutely freaking out. Like, oh my gosh, I gotta go here, I gotta go there. I don't know where my phone is. So kids are feeling that as well, and there's addiction to it. And more research is starting to come out, about leveled kind of, maybe not as much as we're doing as parents. And I'm a parent of teenagers, so I know that they're staring at TikToks and they're doing all the stuff they do. But the other side of it is, phones can be used to help educate as well, help communicate with parents, and I know that we're living in a little bit of a different world, and we want to be able to communicate with our kids, even when they're at school. But they can also help educate. There are definitely apps that teachers can access for the students to use. So in terms of cell phones, I think monitored use at an appropriate level that research dictates. So thank you.
Same question. What are your feelings on the banning of books and or the use of cell phones in school?
Books. Knowledge is power. I don't think books should be banned. Certain books should be banned. with all that's going on in the world, kids never learn too much. We don't learn too much. And as far as the cell phone goes, for me working with juveniles, kids, that's their lifeline. And that's a fight. Sometimes they fight, but on a serious note, I think they don't take the cell phone from them. I just think they should be limited. Phones should be off in school. Focus on education. But as long as they have their life on that hip or wherever the pocket, they're good. They're good. So that's my answer.
Thank you. All right, you now have an opportunity to ask each other a question if you so choose.
Okay. You want me to go first? All right. Okay. So I'm gonna actually follow Donna's lead. When I was here running my first time, she asked me this question. I'm gonna ask you, Stacy. Should you get on? There are different subcommittees that you can become a part of: athletic, policy, curriculum. Are there any that you might want to be a part of? Should you get on the committee?
Mine would be policies. Policies because I think that policies as far as children go, it is very, very important. And as far as disciplining, which is very important to me because children are being suspended for a long period of time, when I don't think they should be suspended for that long period of time, because that's not helping the situation. It's creating a problem. Then they don't want to go back to school because they're out for so long, and then they don't have that encouragement that you can do better. And I just don't agree with that part of it, but that's my answer.
Great answer. Chance.
Do you have a question, Brandon?
No, I'll give you a break.
No.
I was ready. Gately and Lopez. All right, ladies, but before you start, let me just announce to everyone here, there's a few candidates that were unable to make it this evening. They did leave a note with me, and one was Brian Castellanos.
He's getting married.
Walkiria Leguizamo. She had another previous commitment. She couldn't make it either. By the way, Brian Castellanos was getting married, so
He's married.
He's already married now. He's already married. He's out of town. He's married. And Lenny Pena also spoke with me earlier. He was unable to make it. He had another commitment as well. He wasn't able to get out of. All right.
Yep.
Okay. All right, ladies. Let's see who goes first.
She can go first.
She may not want to go first.
Okay, I will go first then.
Follow the rules, but guess what? I'm number one. Is it on?
Yeah, we give people that option because some people feel it's an advantage or disadvantage to go first or second, so we give that option.
We can hear you.
Hi, I'm Lorraine Gately. I've been on this Lynn School Committee. I'm finishing up my 4th term. I'm praying for my 5th. Come on. The reason why I'm praying for that 5th is I'm on Buildings and Grounds. I'm now the chairperson, and we're working on the new school, the new Pickering building. And we're working our way through, and I really, really, really want to see it to completion. I am determined to make sure that our schools, when I leave this committee, will be new school. New school. New school. I'm tired of our teachers. I'm tired of our staffs having to work in conditions that are so old. It's not a good look for us. It's not a good look for the students. The students deserve better. They need to have pride in their schools. They need to feel good about themselves when they go into school. Our curriculum needs to be invigorating. We need to say, hey, I want to go to school. And you know what? I know that for a fact because I'm in Gately's World. My last name is Gately. The kids called it Gately's World. And they wanted to come to my classroom. They ran into my classroom. People that are teachers' age would come and say, gee, I wish I had you, Miss Gately. And you know that, don't big ones. So, but anyways, I've been teaching for 33 years in Lynn, then I went on to St. Mary's for 6 years. I love Lynn students. I love Lynn public schools. I was raised in Lynn, graduated Lynn. My son went to schools in Lynn, graduated Lynn. Am I done? Not yet. But
20 seconds.
20 seconds, but I really, like, one thing came up, and this is really, really serious to me, is that I'm trying to find a solution, and I want everybody in this room to help me, how we can make our schools more diverse. I really need more diverse teachers in our buildings so that children can look at you. Children can say, I can do this. And the only way, in my mind, that I've come up with that solution is if parents and aunts and uncles say, you're smart enough to be a teacher, because I never thought I was smart. Honest to God, growing up, I did not think I was smart. But you're smart enough, you can do it, and promote them. And then we'll have a school full of diversity. Thank you.
Well, I wrote down something because I get a little nervous. My name is Sandra Lopez, and I have one son and a wisdom mother, and I've been working for this community for about 23 years. When I arrived here, I understand English, but I didn't speak. It was very difficult because for a Spanish speaker, in Spanish you speak so fancy, in English you speak so shortly. And it's pretty difficult to translate everything and be talking. But I did it. And since I'm living in this community, I be working for the community, and I help a lot of family and a lot of children. I am an assistant to the nurse, and then I have a 7 career, but I work the one is help me to get money to support my house more quickly. Next year I'm gonna be graduate North Shore as a psychology. And right now, my son is at UMass Lower. He's gonna be a doctor. He was at Lynn Public School too, but I don't gonna lie to anybody. My son went to a charter school in Salem because some situation of we faces right now in the school system that I didn't approve. So, as a Lynn resident, I will say that I'm so proud to be living in this country, and I want to give some of the knowledge that I have in every single career that I have, that I know they're going to help the school so much and the parents. And my decision to running is because I immensely decided to be able to help the school system and redirect the school, which is that the school is supposed to be very respect and sacred at the same time, because it is the beginning of every human being to train in the life. And that better it contribute than all the professionals who be like me and contribute to improve the quality of the education in the public school in our city. On the other hand, the interaction the parents have with the school and their children, plus the communication problem. And added to that, this problem, it made the teacher be very difficult to deal with this situation because they need to deal with the lack in services as a social worker, mental health, psychology, and those are kids that lack the services. And then I would like to be work from the root the problem, because I said if you know the problem in the house, in every single family house, you can resolve all those problems that the professor faces in the school. And I said that we have a big population that doesn't have a knowledge. We have a children, raising children, and that may more be the problem. And then I want to have the time to be there for the children, because right now the children are so desperate to have a discipline, direction, and somebody who pushes them to be success. Thank you.
Okay. Question, again, Lorraine, you might be clairvoyant. You ladies have some extensive opening statements here, and you kind of went into answering some of the questions we actually had for you, so you might find yourself repeating some of the same things. All right, the question for you is this. We're going to start with Lorraine. We'll start with Lorraine. The city's population is exploding, and it's being felt by our school system as well. Classrooms are filled, and class size is becoming unmanageable for teachers to give our students the quality education that they all deserve. A number of our school buildings are antiquated and should be replaced. Are you in favor of building new schools for our children, and where would that school be located?
Are we talking about elementary, high school, middle?
Well, particularly we're talking about Pickering Junior High School, and also Avon is an Asian school as well. I'm not sure what the school committee has on their docket to try to target to be more a priority, but myself coming from the city, I realized that those schools have been around for a long time, and there have been issues that's been out there back and forth about this. I would want you to give me some insight. In a perfect world, you know, if just say if finance was not an issue. Right now you can get like 85 to 90% reimbursement for schools building, right?
Yeah.
Something to that nature. But there's been some talk about Pickering Junior High, so let's talk about that.
I am on the Pickering Middle School Committee, and I can talk to you about that. And we're on a timeline where it will be completed. We got pushed back a little bit, so we'll be completed maybe in November 2026. It's going to be located in the parking lot of Sisson Elementary School. It's going to start at Magnolia at the base. Am I answering your question?
You are.
At the base, and it's going to go up 5 stories. I'm being a watchdog on the fact that it's a taller building. And I want to tell you why we couldn't use Magnolia Park, because when they did their drilling to find bedrock, when they drilled down, one side went down, the side on Magnolia went down 160 feet. The side over by the ball field went down 140 feet. And that was just to hit bedrock. So, and it was uneven, because I don't think a lot of people realize that it used to be a lake. And then like where Flax Pond is dammed to Flax Pond and sluice, and then it became a marsh. So we couldn't build there because it would cost way too much. Then the state, the Mass Building Association came through and they cut us back and they said, oh, no, we're not going to give you that 80%. We're only going to be giving you like 45%. And that sort of knocked us in the gut. And that's why I'm going to be an advocate for fighting for the formula for new schools, for Mass Building Association, to be redone so that it's equitable to every city and town in the state of Massachusetts. I go out and I drive over by, Saugus, and there's an empty elementary school. Empty. We have overcrowded schools. We cannot keep giving them money when they have money to be able to build new schools. We have to change that formula. Then we'll get more schools. Avon. Oh, my bell's gonna ring. So anyways, Avon had to get repointed. I know exactly what you're talking about. My son went to Avon. It really needs to be changed. That would be a thought for the future, but we're gonna get through Pickering. Thank you for the question.
Same question.
Mine gonna be very short.
Well, just be thorough. Go ahead.
Okay.
Can we have 2 minutes, please?
Okay.
Thank you.
I will answer to that. I have a lot of plan to develop FIB and the school committee table because I know a lot about architectural planning, and then I have a proposal that is going to benefit the school system to have a rebuild and repair the school that we actually have, and to have a more construction on efficiencies building where we can develop a better programs and to include all those buildings that we have in the community that doesn't have a user that be implemented to help the school system and use and habilitate them for being used for that purposes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, ladies, at this juncture right here, you have an opportunity to ask each other a question if you so choose.
Do you have a question for me?
All right,
There's a
Sandy.
lot of people waiting, so I don't have a question.
You don't have a question? Lorraine, you don't have a question? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Dan? Dan Richard. Is there anyone here other than Dan that's left? Yeah. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do 3. We'll do 3. I'll stand up. So there's 3 left, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do all 3. No.
Just pull a seat next to you.
I got your picture. You don't mind? Just slide down a little bit. Slide this out of your way. We did have this formulated for even numbers, but with people not coming, what we have. So we're gonna tighten it up a little bit. 2 minutes for your opening statement. We're gonna be very strict on that, all right? Opening statement, your name, the office you're running for, whether you're an incumbent or a challenger, and why you're running for that office. 2 minutes. We'll go right down the line. Go right here.
Hi everyone, my name's Sean Reed. I'm running for the first time for school committee, and I'm running to bring a new generation of leadership to our schools. I was first inspired to run for school committee because education is deeply personal to me. It is personal to me as someone who went to Lynn Public Schools. I actually ran into my guidance counselor not too long ago. I wasn't the best student in or out of the classroom, and I ran into my guidance counselor, and I asked her what my GPA was, because I was going to start using it in the speeches, and then she told me what it was, and I'm never saying it publicly. I wasn't the best student in and out of the classroom. I faced a number of personal hurdles around housing insecurity. I come from an undereducated household with no high school diplomas, but my teachers never gave up on me, the administrators never gave up on me, and I am where I am today because of them, and I want every child to have that same opportunity regardless of their circumstance. Education is also personal to me as someone who's married to a Lynn Public Schools special education teacher over at Hood Elementary School, and I get to see a lot of on the ground what's going on. I know immediately what went on that day by her mood when she comes home, and it reminds me how much work we all have to do around our teachers, and it gives me an on the ground perspective. Then education is finally personal to me as someone who wants to raise his family here. We're hitting that age and so many of my friends are buying houses and they're moving out of Lynn, in large part because of the school. And the sad part about this all is it's the conditions of our schools largely. It's not the people, it's not the programs, it's just something so fixable. It's something so simple, you know, we have all the intangibles that we need, we need to make sure that we're fixing our organizational infrastructure. But yeah, I look forward to talking a little bit more about my background. I know I only have a few seconds left, so thank you all for being here tonight, and thank you to the organizers for this opportunity.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Daniel Richard. I'm a challenger. This is my second time running for the Lynn School Committee. I'm a lifelong Lynner. I'm a Lynn graduate of Druids Breed, classical 2008. I'm a parent of a special needs child, 15 years old, who was in the Lynn public school system. And I'm also happily married, and I have 4 stepchildren, 2 that are in Hood, 1 that's in Marshall, and 1 that is at Lynn English. And all 4 of those kids are ESL students, meaning their second language is English, their first language is Spanish. And I am also a Latino as well. Why I'm running for school committee, it's very simple. 3 parts of my platform is special needs. As I just mentioned, I have a son that's autistic, 15 years old. Maneuvering that world can be very challenging. If you're not aware and you haven't had any really lived experience, you may not know how to do it. Having somebody at that table that can advocate and help you navigate that world will be extremely important. I'm also a businessman in the city. I work for a financial services firm right in Wyoming Square. Financial literacy is big to me, and I think bringing financial literacy to the schools is going to be huge. I know the school committee is currently working on a financial literacy program, but having somebody that has lived experience, once again, 10 years in that industry, being properly licensed, being able to educate not just adults but children as well is going to be important. And as I mentioned, the third one is ESL. Having 4 kids that are ESL students, I see firsthand what it's like for these children, the struggles that they go through, but also the achievements that they have experienced as well. Bringing more light to them and bringing more opportunities to them is going to be a big part of what my platform. I've lived in Lynn my whole life. I serve on 3 different boards. The LISOA board, if anybody's been to the Stop the Violence March, LISOA is in conjunction with them. I serve on that board. I'm part of the Lynn Community Connections. I'm the chairman of that board. I serve on the board of a board in the city of Lynn, but also too, I'm a businessman. I'm a man that has lived in the city my whole life, will continue to live here. My family's here, and I love this city. That's all.
Okay, so let me put my glasses on so I can see all of your beautiful faces. Can you hear me?
Yes.
It's very low. So I am going to project my voice. So good evening, everyone. It's great to see all of you. I'm running for the first time for the Lynn Public Schools. For me, it's very simple. Someone famously said, education is the best weapon. I would say one of the best weapons that we can use to advance ourselves. And so I also am a parent. I'm a mental health specialist by training. I am a mental health specialist. This is what I do. As a child growing up, education was always stressed, the importance of that. And after my mom died when I was 10 years old, I made a decision that, you know what, I'm going to make my mom proud. I am going to stay in school. And I came to this country, and it wasn't easy being a foreign student. But you know what? Because education is so important, it was instilled in me. I stayed the course. I'm running because I'm going to ask you this question. When you look at the school committee, and we have members represented here, do you see anyone that look like me? Okay. That is one of the reasons I am running. It is important because Lynn is diverse, and we need to see that diversity at the table. We need to have a voice at the table. I've worked with gangs. Some of you don't know that. I work behind the scenes. I've offered so much to the community. I've worked with young fathers involved in the court system. I've worked with young men in the court system. As a matter of fact, I have a book coming out specifically geared to the youth because they are suffering from mental health issues. And that is part of why we're seeing some of what's happening. I've worked with gangs, so I understand. I could bring fresh perspective to the table. And also I'll be launching a television program coming up in the next few weeks, By Youth, For Youth. I'm invested. This is not just about getting a name or doing this for notoriety. I am not here for that. I am in it for the right reasons because I want our kids to excel, get a good educational foundation.
All right, thank you all for that. And again, sometimes things happen for a reason. Again, like I stated earlier, we had tried to balance this out so everything came out equally, but now we had 6 different questions for the school committee. We've already answered like half of those already, but the way it turns out, instead of having each one of you answer the same question, we have 3 different questions for you so I can get all my questions asked. There'll be 3 different questions. This will be the order in which you select the question. It should be a 1, a 2, or a 3 on there. Question number 3, question number 1, and is 2 on there?
Yes.
Okay, question number 1. Educators in the Commonwealth have been debating whether or not to continue using the MCAS as a barometer and requirement for our students to graduate high school. Do you feel that the MCAS test is a valuable tool, and are you in favor of keeping it?
So, thank you, Darrell, for that question.
Who has question number 1?
I have question number 1.
That's you.
So, thank you, Darrell, for that question. So, being part of the Lynn Public Schools, going through the system, seeing what the MCAS is and what it's all about, to me personally, I'm not in favor of the MCAS. I think standardized testing is not a proper barometer, considering I have a child that's special needs, he's nonverbal. He's not going to do well in that class. He's not going to do well in that test. This woman right here in front in the checkered shirt had my son in the coach program, so she knows who he is. It's not an accurate depiction. I was never a good test taker. I always got nervous. I always changed my answers. But I was an AB student, but every time a test came around, I would bomb. I would do terrible. So I don't think it's a fair and it's a proper assessment. I would like to see the MCAS done away. And also, too, for our teachers, it puts an extreme amount of pressure on our teachers to perform. And just they're teaching towards a test. And I don't think that's fair. They should be teaching curriculum. They should love what they do. They should have a little bit more freedom on what they teach and bringing more diversity into our classrooms would be great to see as well. Not just all about MCAS and how many kids can I get to pass the MCAS, because I know teachers have to have a certain amount of kids that pass the MCAS to be considered a good teacher. So I don't think it's fair. I'd like to see the MCAS done away and really kind of bring some, fun back into the classroom and really teaching our kids a very well diverse background when it comes to education, history and science and English and reading, and just being more inclusive when it comes to that, and not always about how can I get my kids to pass the MCAS, what can I do to help my kids pass the MCAS. Really take a holistic approach to education and not just about the MCAS. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Question number 2. With the increasing numbers of students of color, do you feel as though it is important that the district make it a priority that they hire teachers and other staff that reflect the student body, and why?
Well, of course. I actually, in one of my statements, did state that we should consider developing a task force specifically to address hiring teachers of color. But not only do you hire them, but we want to retain them. So, and we have to put things in place to be able to retain. Remember, differences, it's beautiful to be different, because that means we're going to make things more beautiful. We have different perspectives, different cultures. And so why not be inclusive? Persons of color, I can share a personal experience. I taught in the Lynn Public Schools as a substitute teacher for many years because I have a child, and the mother's hours, it was good for my schedule. And every time I talk about this, I get choked up because it's dear and personal to me. I could never understand why I would show up in the schools and I didn't see teachers that looked like me. One day I went to a classroom, I won't say which school, and this little brown girl came up to me, got up from her seat, she came and she touched my hand, and then she looked at me in amazement. And she said, "Oh my goodness, you look like me."
30 seconds.
I was appalled. So I said yes. And that particular day, her entire demeanor changed. She was happy. Why am I saying that? It's important that children have teachers that look like them, can understand their culture, their background. Research has shown that these children tend to do better when we have people that look like us and understand us.
Thank you. Question number 3. We're gonna stay with the same theme actually. So again, I think we did well with this. We're gonna assume that everyone is in favor of diversity. So if in fact people decided that they wanted to have more diversity, this would be the question. What plan or steps would you take in order to secure and balance the students of color with faculty of color ratio? Can all of our students benefit from having role models?
Yeah, of course, all of our students can benefit from having role models, and as Judith pointed to, there's tons of research that shows when people can identify with whether it's any type of role model, they can do much better. I think there's this kind of sentiment going around that I hear a lot. I even heard from some people in the administration around, there's a teacher shortage all over, of all types of teachers, which is true. But that doesn't mean that we have to give up on this initiative. Sometimes desperate times make for the best measures, and I think this is the time to do it. I think the love for education has to be taught at a young age in terms of, I think a lot of people have a negative perception on the teaching path, and rightfully so, there's a lot of negatives, but we need to make sure that we're promoting at the high school level. Hey, something that Donna Capola, I think I always hear talk about is have them come back and substitute and get them in the schools. So making sure that we follow up with students and have them come in and see how much they love it. I used to substitute like Judith did, and I actually considered going to teaching because of it. So I think that's very important, and more so just being married to a teacher, knowing a lot of teachers. Schools and school districts are small, word gets around quick, I would say. So it's really about building the culture, and when you build that culture, we're able to, attract more and more people, have affinity groups and mentorship programs at work.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, we have a question.
All right, school committee members and challengers. You have an opportunity to ask a question of each other if you so choose. We're going to start with Judith. Do you have a question for either one of these gentlemen?
It was going to be between Sean and I, and so I had a question
Go right ahead.
for Sean, only because he said he had one for me. So if you change your mind, then I won't ask my question. No. Okay, all right.
Okay, let me just say this. I think I just need to preface this a little bit. This setup was done intentionally, because I want to know that people that were incumbents are already there, and there's people that are challengers that are vying for those positions. They may differ in philosophy, all right? So these people are saying, I can bring a different and new perspective to what's already there. Or the people that are there saying, this is what I'm doing, and this is why you should retain me. So we want to hear both sides of this. Go right ahead.
So I'm going to continue with the diversity of the teachers. Can you give details as to how you would attract teachers of color?
Yeah, I think I kind of touched on that a few different ways. I think the hiring of a DEI officer recently by the school committee is absolutely huge, so we can implement culturally competent recruiting practices. I know they've worked on it, so I think that's very important. It's also important that we meet people where they're at in terms of going to different working with different community groups and different nonprofit organizations who might already have these built-in networks that we can go to and say, hey, would you know anyone that has, this skill set and is of a certain group? And then also making sure we're attending all the fairs we can go to and building different partnerships with the, not just the colleges around here. I think we often think of that, but Boston's right there too. I mean, we could have partnerships with those schools as well. So I think that's all kind of just being out there in the community and meeting people where they're at. It's obviously not easy. It's, like I said earlier, it's hard to find teachers anywhere of any type, but we need to make sure that we're being intentional and doing everything we can to check all our boxes.
Okay, that was Judy's question. Sean, do you have a question for Judy?
I do. Staying on kind of the same theme. For the teachers that we already have, we've seen obviously a lot of our teachers leaving the district, and they're not always going to the best districts. They're going to nearby districts who have similar challenges. What would you do to keep the teachers that we have now?
That's a great question. Thank you for asking that. It is important that teachers' voices are heard, that teachers have support. That's one of my platform topics. All teachers also need to be appreciated and not just tolerated. Teachers, I believe, should also have support, mental health support on site. It is so key. Having worked as a substitute teacher for many years, I've had come into situations where I, as a substitute, have had to pull teachers aside just to encourage their spirits and to encourage them. And also have mentors. With more, you have the newer teachers partnered with newer teachers partnered with more seasoned teachers, I believe would be a really good thing to have. So that when the newer ones feel like giving up, the older ones can say, well, this is what I did. And to encourage them. And also, just to add one more thing to what you said earlier about the teachers. You're absolutely right about going beyond Lynn. Just talk to me, I could tell you, there are tons of resources where you have teachers of color. They would be willing to come and teach, even right here in the community. Let's partner with community organizations. We have CMCC, we have this community, and then we have one by Mr. Akers. Folks, let's partner, let's talk, let's communicate, reach out, go think outside the box.
All right. Dan, you have any question for either one of them?
No.
Okay. Thank you. We are going to jump right into the Ward 1. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna pick up the pace a little bit here. We're gonna pick up the pace. 1 minute, open the statement. That's it. Stand up, bring up your hands, keep it moving. Let's go. All right? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I need your attention, please. That's pretty cool. All right, gentlemen, could you first identify yourself, the office you're running for, whether or not you're an incumbent or you're a challenger, and why you're running for that office. We're going to start with Newhall.
Good evening. Thanks once again for hosting this event. My name's Jeff Newhall. I'm candidate for Ward 1 councilor. I grew up in, well, some would say I haven't grown up, but I've lived in Ward 1 my whole life. I grew up on Linfield Street, presently live on Kent Road. I'm married, my wife Christine, lifelong Lynn resident, lifelong Ward 1 resident as well. We have 3 children, twins that are 8 and a 10-year-old. And we've made the decision, and it wasn't really a decision, to bring our family up here in the city of Lynn. It's really the only thing that I know of. I can't imagine anything different. The city's been very, very good to me. I've lived and worked in the city my whole life. I have been the athletic director and director of campus operations at St. Mary's for the last 22 years, as well as the basketball coach there. And it's been, I look at this as an opportunity to give back to a city that's done a lot for me and continues to do a lot for me. And there's opportunities for all of us. And I think some of the school committee members already touched on some of the opportunities we have in front of us.
Thank you.
I'm going to stand if that's okay. My name is Dr. Pete Meany. I'm a candidate for Ward 1 in Lynn. A little bit about myself. I was born in Lynn. I'm the son of a firefighter. My mother worked at GE for 35 years. Currently, so I'm a graduate of North Shore Community College. Went in the Navy first. North Shore Community College, UConn, and then Boston University with my doctorate. Currently, I am the owner-operator of Broadway Family Dental right here in Wyoming Square. I've been there since 2014. I currently employ 11 people, and 9 of them live in Lynn, so I try to contribute locally. I am married. I also have twins. I have twin girls. They're Maya and Madeline. They're 1 year old, 13 months. I don't do that though. And then, my wife Tara, she's a nurse. So the reason I'm running for Ward 1 is, I'm invested in this community in every sense of the imagination. Like my business is here, my family's here, my home's here. I am just Mr. Ward 1. I never leave. My mechanic says that I put 700 miles last year in my car. I literally never leave this place. I have no political background. I believe in hard work and luck. Like the harder you work, the better luck you have. I mean, the people of Lynn have been very good to me, and I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. All right, gentlemen, this is going to be the same question for both of you. We're going to start with Mr. Meany right here first. What do you feel is the most pressing issue of concern in Ward 1, and how would you correct that issue?
In Ward 1, well, it's a couple things. It would be infrastructure and traffic. Everyone says that Linfield Street's being under construction, they're doing a lot of work, it's an absolute mess. I mean, Ward 1, you can argue, is different than the rest of the city. It's a lot of single unit homes, and they want quiet. They want no one to be cutting through their street. It's kind of a unique sense. I mean, we have a couple elementary schools. We don't have a high school. We have Pickering, and so just public safety is another issue. Public safety doesn't necessarily mean violent crime, but in the sense that public safety is we're importing 264 units of affordable housing where the Union Hospital used to be, and we have no access to emergency services and firefighters. Ward 1 is disproportionately older than the rest of the city. There's a lot more seniors there than there are anywhere else, and I think that's important.
Okay.
Probably similar to Dr. Meany. I would say there's 2 things that stand out to me. The public safety issue, specifically around speeding after hours. And the second thing is the public safety issue. There's 3 miles from the Broadway Fire Station to the Linfield line with the Ward 1 population that is growing and getting older, especially with the upcoming new construction. So we do have a fire station that has not been opened. I grew up next door to it. My father still lives there. It has not been open for quite a while, and I know there's a lot that probably needs to be done to open that. But I'm certainly would fight for at least having an ambulance in that area, just as a start. And then the second part of this, third part of this, which is a huge thing, the school committee candidates already spoke to this, working with the team that's already in place to get the Pickering Middle School up and running. Not just for Ward 1, for the city of Lynn's kids, because they need it, the teachers need it, they deserve it, and right now, our only path forward is to improve our infrastructure in our schools. We can start in Ward 1 with the Pickering Middle School. It has to be a priority.
All right. All right, gentlemen, both of you mentioned the traffic in Ward 1. I think that what we all probably could agree upon is this. Although Lynn has 7 diverse wards here, we all live in the same city. So it may be more difficult for you to maybe get back to your home if you live in Ward 1, but we all traverse the city and we have to travel through Ward 1 as well. It doesn't stop where we live, right? Everything doesn't stop where you live. You work at St. Mary's. That's not Ward 1. You have to travel across the city. So traffic is a problem for everyone in the city of Lynn. If you drive around here, especially between, let's just say, 1:30 and 3:30, right? It is gridlock in this city. So we understand the traffic that's there. I guess my question would be, what are we gonna do? What can we do about this? So let's have Mr. Meany start.
Oops, go ahead.
We'll go, Jeff. Sorry about that.
So
My
it's
apologies.
just, with the growing population and just, Lynn is pretty saturated as is. There's a lot of people here and it's growing every day. I mean, as far as ridding the traffic, is what can I do as a Ward 1 member? I can't snap my fingers and make people disappear. I can't snap my fingers and make sure that they can drive slower. So one of the things we can do in a very practical, cost-effective way is mobile speed bumps. I looked online, they're about $300 a pop. They're seasonal. You can kind of move them around, keep the people guessing. So if you're going to have a lot of traffic, you're going to have a lot of people, at least we can do is slow them down.
Jeff?
I think you brought up a great point, Darrell, in that, there's no ward issues, there's city issues, and they affect all of us. And when I think of that, I am a coach, and to me, I think to have success, the team has to function together. And as a city councilor, I want to be part of the big team, the bigger team. And that's not just as a city councilor, that's community groups, that's constituents, that's our children, that's public safety, that's DPW, it's the state delegation, it's everybody working together to solve issues around the city. Yes, traffic would be one of them, infrastructure is another one, our roads, the condition of our roads, all those things are issues. But I think if we work together as a community and not, have division, we can move the city forward. It's not going to mean the traffic we're going to get from St. Mary's to the Linfield line in 3.5 minutes. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about working together as a team from the budget on down with all members of the community to move the city forward.
Thank you for that. All right, gentlemen, do you have a question for one another before we part?
You don't, I don't. All right, good.
All right. Ward 2. I don't know if Elizabeth Figueroa is here or not.
No, she couldn't make it.
Oh, she said she couldn't make it down?
Correct.
Okay. Matul.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Matul. I just want to tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in Guatemala. My parents brought me to the United States, to the great city of Lynn, when I was 8 years old. I knew how to say yes, no, and thank you. But throughout my years and the discipline that my parents poured on me, I can proudly say that I am the product of the Lynn English public school system. I graduated Lynn English High School in 2006, and I went on to Emmanuel College in Boston, graduated 2010 with a bachelor's in business management. In 2012, I married my love, my sweetheart, my wife, Maribel, whom I can say that I have the full support of her throughout my campaign. I am invested, and that's why I'm running for office, because I am invested in this community. I have established my family here, and we're going to be here for a long, long time. I am a business owner in Ward 2. If Pete is Mr. Ward 1, I am Mr. Ward 2. Because Pete actually has to drive to work, whereas I just have to go down the stairs. I live and I work in Ward 2. I am invested. I'm a full-time Ward 2. And like I've been saying it since the beginning of my campaign, public safety is a concern. I'm going to work hard to make sure that our kids are secured. I see a lot of kids walking to school by themselves in the morning, walking home by themselves in the afternoon, because of the fact that I live right behind Hood Elementary. I want to make sure that our kids are safe, work with school committee, work with the mayor's office, work with the council, make sure that everyone's safe. If I get elected and they get elected as well, I'm going to be working with former teachers. So I'm looking forward to bringing a new generation, bringing out new views. And of course, like I said, as a homeowner, I have the point of view as a resident, and as a business owner, I have new ideas to bring in more businesses into my ward.
Okay, Matul, right now, Ward 2 is an open seat. Both Matul and Elizabeth Figueroa are challengers in Ward 2. So, just saying as a challenger here, being a resident of Ward 2 for, I don't know how many years you just mentioned earlier, I don't recall it, but what would you consider the most pressing issues in Ward 2, and how would you go about correcting those issues? Or just pick one right now.
Yep, well, it's hard to just pick one, but I throughout my campaigning, throughout all the summer, I've knocked on hundreds and hundreds of doors. I've met a lot of people, and the biggest concern that I've heard is in the Fayette State area, a lot of public works. In the Meadows by the Lynn English area, we have the speeding issues, we have the illegal dumping issues that I'm looking to work on with the councilor at large. I look forward to working, one of the topics, I know like you said one, but it's like I said, it's hard to choose just one. One of the problems that we have around the Meadows and up in the Highlands is the speeding issue. And one of the things that I have learned that happened over at the Wyoma Square is that we need to get started working early. And I'm looking forward to working as a counselor. I've met with the city planners, and I know that there's a lot of work coming onto the Western Avenue and Essex Street, so I'm looking forward to working with whoever's going to be the counselor in Ward 1, Ward 3 counselor, and Ward 4 counselor to make sure that we tackle those projects early, make sure that everything's transparent, make sure that the neighbors know what's happening, because there's going to be a lot more traffic coming, so just so you know, be ready.
All right, thank you. I'm gonna just add a little something to this. I'm gonna let you go on this. One of the issues that I've heard about in Ward 2 is that there is a abandoned house in Ward 2. No, I take that back. That's Ward 3, Coco.
Give it to the city schools.
No. No. In Ward 2, it is the parking of commercial vehicles in the neighborhood. Commercial vehicles on the street. I'm hearing this in Ward 2. So a lot of people are not happy with that. You know, a number of people in Ward 2 have driveways they can park their car on. They walk their dogs and whatever they are in the neighborhood. And now you have all these commercial vehicles that some people that live there are parking commercial vehicles in the neighborhood. What can you do about it?
So it's a problem. It's been an ongoing problem. I've lived it myself. A lot of you know that before we bought a property, we used to have our business on Joy Street. One of the issues that I had was that I'm an early bird. I go to work at 5 in the morning. Before that, I couldn't park before 6 p.m. outside my shop, which I got a lot of tickets, almost 3-4 times a month because of my truck. And it's an ongoing issue, so as a counselor, I'm going to make sure that there's ordinances that we need to make sure that we push. A lot of my customers live in Ward 2 and Ward 4, but it's something that I've seen specifically in Ward 2 where the Meadows is and up in the Highlands. We do have a lot of commercial trucks parking there, so we need to make sure that the city, the city pushes and enforces those ordinances.
We already have. Okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Can I say one last thing, sorry?
Real quick.
Yeah, I'll be fast. I have the utmost respect for my opponent, Elizabeth, and either way, just so you know, Lynn is going to make history. Either my opponent or myself is going to be the first Latino white councilor. I know we also have 2 at-large candidates that are Latino, so we have a couple chances. But either way, Ward 2 is going to have a Latino councilor.
Ward 4. Donna Capola and... He's last. Ward 3. He's last. No, that's Ward 4. This is Ward 4. All right, ladies. We're going to start with Natasha. Could you identify yourself, what ward you're running for, and why you're running for that ward? Donna, you go next.
Good evening. Good evening, everybody. My name is Natasha Meji-Madri. I am running to be the next Ward 4 City Councilor. The reason I'm running for City Councilor is that I am vested in our city that I love. I've been in Lynn for 25 years, And over those 25 years, I've seen a lot of changes. And not all of them have been good, but some have been good. There's a lot of good things going on in our city. I'm a mom of 5, and I also have a grandson, Jaden. And I really want to advocate to make sure that everybody has a voice at the table. I've knocked on almost 7,000 doors since March. And for me, it's really important to talk to voters and really just find out where everybody's at and what they want in our ward. It's so important. People don't vote. A lot of people don't vote. Like less than 8% of people came out in the primary, and it's just not okay. And why did that happen? Because people at the doors are like, well, why should I vote? Nothing changes in this city. And that's because people are not voting. So it's so important to get out and vote. I can't stress to you how important it is. I want to advocate to make sure that if you live in Lynn, that you're able to stay in Lynn, because affordable housing is a big, huge issue. Not just affordable housing. We're talking about people are living in apartments that are terrible condition. Like they're living with bugs, roaches, rats, bed bugs, all types of things, and it's just not okay. We need to do better by everybody that lives in the city. And that's what I want to advocate for. I want to work with the other councilors to make sure that we are advocating to make sure all of Ward 4 is represented, because it hasn't been for years.
20 seconds.
This is why I'm running. This is my 3rd time running for that seat. I'm not running because it's an open seat. I'm running because it is important, and I want to help to bring your voice to the table.
Hi, my name is Joanna Cabola, and I'm running for Ward 4 City Council seat also. I married to my husband Harry. I'm a parent of 4 children and grandparent to 7, and former foster parent to 19, 3 of them that I adopted actually. And I sat for 12 terms on the Lynn Public School System, worked hard, met a lot of nice people, a lot of great kids that have graduated from our Lynn Public Schools. I've made a lot of connections with families, a lot of them living up in the Highlands. And I've worked for 27 years at a daycare center as a case manager for teen parents. And most of those teen parents lived in the Highlands. So I'm aware of a lot of the issues that are in the Highlands and things that people are really concerned with. Our ward has a lot of potential and has been neglected in a number of ways. So there is no getting around that. And it could be because people just accept, what they have and how they've been taken care of. But I was a wife of a ward councilor. He was a ward councilor for 6 years. I know a whole another way of doing it and how to take care of people in the ward and how to make things better. I think our ward has not had a lot of things that has been for families, fun things. My husband was a ward councilor in Ward 7. We had everything. We 4th of July, and other wards have that 4th of July stuff, but we don't have it up in ours. And there's no reason not to. We have beautiful High Rock Tower, plenty of area there to have nice things for our kids on a holiday like that. My husband ran kite days. People love kite days. And just a lot of family stuff and getting people involved.
Thank you. All right, since Natasha started, Donna, you're gonna start. All right. You outlined a number of things right there, but if you had to choose one, what is the most pressing issue in Ward 4 that you would like to address, and how would you go about doing it?
Well, just like Obed said, it's hard to say just one thing. The ward itself is has a high density, so it's very tight. Parking is a real problem, and speeding is also the same type of an issue. But public safety all around, whether it's the speeding issues, whether it's not enough police patrol up there. I've walked, hundreds and hundreds of houses also, knocking on doors, and there you won't see a cruiser, unless there's something that's actually happened, but not just coming around and patrolling. But I think public safety is the #1 issue.
Okay, Natasha, thank you, Donna.
Thank you. So again, there are a lot of issues in Ward 4. If I had to pick to one specific thing, it's gonna be the lack of communication. We need to improve communication big time in Ward 4. What I wanna do is have ward meetings, as we haven't had. In fact, I've never been invited to a ward meeting the entire time I've lived in Ward 4. So we need to have ward meetings. We need to have monthly meetings. We need to have newsletters so that we know what's going on in our city, not just in Ward 4, but all throughout Lynn, right? It's so important to know like who to contact and how. Right, I think that's part of the problem, the missing communication. There's so much resources in our city, but a lot of people don't know how to access them. So we need to do a better job of letting everybody know, like these are the people that represent you, and that's what the kind of counselor I'm going to be. Like always calling you back because it's key. I might not have the answer right away, but at least getting back to you, like I'm working on this, and I will call you back. That is the kind of counselor I will be when I'm elected on November 7th. Thank you.
All right, ladies, this is actually a question for both of you. You know, we're gonna probably end with this. I'm gonna let Natasha answer, then Donna after that. In Ward 4, it's a pretty diverse ward as well. You know, some parts of the Highlands. It also goes down to parts of the Diamond District, correct? Over there someplace, so it's kind of diverse there. But one of my primary concerns would be this. And Ward 4 is also inclusive of the Union Street corridor, all right? There's a number of businesses on Union Street corridor and other things that take place down there. The lighting is bad right around. If you go to Union Street when it gets dark, there's light poles there, right in front of Caruso's and that area right there, but they're out. Lights are out, it's dark down there. It's kind of seedy looking, all right? So we would like very much, as a community, I don't live there, but I work there, I live in the city, I drive down Union Street, I'm concerned about what goes on down there. I'd like to see those lights on. And also, some further development on Union Street, the Union Street corridor, for its businesses, and not just have all the business be concentrated on, just say, Upper Boston Street, where you have McDonald's and all the other, every fast food restaurant you can think of. There's a bank down there, 2 banks down there, Eastern Bank, Salem 5, everything's down there, all right? Development is there. Development is on the Lynn Way. What about Ward 4? What about Union Street corridor? We need a bank down there too.
Yeah.
They took away the bank that was right Santander, right in Central Square. So those are some of the concerns I might have about Ward 4. So let's go with Natasha. We're gonna give you 1 minute, and Donna 1 minute after that to maybe address those things.
Thank you, Darryl, for that question. So it's really important to support small businesses in particular. Union Street, I've talked to so many businesses down there, and they need more support. They need to know, like you said, it's important that they feel safe at all hours, so we need to make sure lighting's fixed. So I think that sounds like a request for our at-large counselors, and we're gonna make sure those get done. We just need to make sure that people feel represented. And opening a business needs to be a little easier because there's so many young people that wanna open their own business, and we need to make it easier for them because they have so many great ideas, and that's what we need to foster in our city, more businesses. And like Roger had mentioned before, parking is an issue, so we need to make sure that there's parking as well. So we need more young businesses, and just businesses need to feel supported by everybody. And we need to, why should we be spending money in Peabody and other places? We need to spend our money right here in Lynn. And that is what I would work and advocate with the other counselors for. Thank you.
All right.
There's some great businesses downtown, but unfortunately, a lot of people don't go down for exactly the reason you're talking about. The lighting, they're afraid after dark, and so that affects the business. I mean, if they're not open for longer hours, they're not able to make the money. But another issue down there is parking. We have built so many buildings down there. You know, we put the Mosaic building up, and you know, point out Roger owns April's, and you can't get down there. I go down, my husband and I go there for breakfast every Saturday morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, and we can't have a parking space on that street to park and go into a restaurant. Because there is no parking there. All of that housing that's gone in there has eaten up all of the parking. So if you want to stop, but I'll be honest with you, I needed a turkey pan, like a real turkey pan, the kind with the little spots on it there. And somebody told me that, downtown the store had it. I couldn't even park there. We needed a double park. We have to concern ourselves with parking. But parking is a big piece. We must find parking for those businesses. We must keep it clean, we must fix the lighting, and, give them a shot at making it in downtown.
All right, thank you. All right, ladies, and with this, if you have one question for each other, we can start with Donna. Do you have a question for Natasha?
So let me see. Like Eric said, I asked Eric the question.
Did.
What committees would you like to serve on if you were there?
Oh, definitely. So, I would like to serve on the senior committee for sure, because I definitely think that elders in our community are not getting enough assistance right now. My 2 parents are really struggling right now finding assistance, and especially my dad, and I really just want to advocate for seniors. So that would be like my top priority, just to make sure that seniors are really getting a fair shot.
Natasha, you have a question for Donna?
Yeah.
Yeah, did you want me to answer it?
I'm waiting for your question.
Oh, can I have them? Okay, here's my question. So you have been on the school committee for 24 years. Do you feel that you have always voted in the best interest of all students from all backgrounds? Could you speak to your vote against Dr. Tutwiler's proposal to have kindergarten teachers obtain an ESL license? Based on this vote, how would you advocate for all residents of Ward 4?
Absolutely. Every single vote I took on the school committee was for the kids there. Absolutely. And the reason that, as far as the license goes for the kindergarten teachers, that license was not going to help at all to have those teachers teach better than they are. They already have certification where they're required to have it, and that license was not going to make a difference and do an improvement on that at all. You can ask my people that I am on this committee with too. They won't agree with me.
All right, ladies, thank you. Ward 3.
Can I bring Ward 3?
Ward 5, come.
Oh, 6.
6, excuse me. Ward 3, 6, 5. Can't wait to get a piece of your cocoa. 7,
Good luck.
and 6 are unopposed. But I'd like to say this. Please identify yourself. Stretch out with you.
I'm Fred Hogan. I'm the Ward 6 Lynn City Councilor. Going on 5 years elected, so.
My name is Coco Alansog. I'm currently the Ward 3 City Councilor. I came here because I want to make sure that Daryl still knows how to pronounce my last name.
Alansog.
Still wrong. But is this the opening statement now?
Yes. This is part of your opening statement.
So very basic. Invited here to the Brotherhood. I come here, no matter what. If I have an opponent or I don't have an opponent, I'm coming here because Daryl is a figure in my life that helped me become the man I am today. He was my football coach in high school. And, whenever they reach out, my mother was a secretary at CMCC also. So whenever they reach out, I come here and I make sure I don't care if I have an opponent or I do have an opponent. But anyway, being a counselor, community, constituent services is huge. You have to answer your phone. You have to answer your phone when they call. I had an incident recently at Marion Gardens. 3 days they were out of power out of 5 days. Out of power, I'm talking about from 8 in the morning until 1 in the morning. 1 a.m., 8 a.m. to 1 a.m., 1 day. National Grid, the management at Marion Gardens, nobody answered these guys. I went door to door and made sure everyone, 94 units. I got Lenny Pena from the school committee to come with me to translate. 94 units, we talked to every single person. They were amazed that we did that. We had a community meeting, we put National Grid on the spot. We called them out. They're gonna answer the questions for us. Those residents said to those people, they said the National Grid and the management guards, our ward councilor shouldn't be the one that had come door to door and check on us when you guys, the management of this place, turned your backs on us and National Grid. And we held them accountable. But that's a little bit of what you have to do as a ward council. When people call you, you have to answer their call. They depend on you to answer that phone call and fight for them when they need it. All right, some of the other things, we have flooding in Ward 6.
I was about to ask that question.
The CSO project is well underway. You guys drive down Commercial Street, it's a mess. That is a major pump station going in there. When the stormwater hits, the stormwater is going to go to the ocean. They're going to send the sewage to us at the wastewater plant. We're going to treat it so that it's all clean. So now the stormwater will go straight to the ocean. There's going to be 5 major pumps in there that's going to help us with alleviate some of the flooding in that area. Also on McManus Field, great news coming for the athletic world. I fought with the ARPA money to make sure that we had some of the best athletic fields in the state. I went to my daughter's flag football game in Cambridge. It was embarrassing. They had 3 turf fields in a row. I said, this is embarrassing. We don't have this in Lynn. So I said, I'm going to fight for McManus Field and get those fields. Now there can be a soccer game played and a football game played at the same time on a football field, and it's going to last for a while. Why do I fight for that? People are like, why? Because I do stop the violence, Lynn, and I know how important it is to keep kids busy and keep kids off the street. And these are some of the avenues that we're going to do to keep them off the street. And I got like 6 more things here, but I don't know. I will touch on one thing. I'll let you off.
All right, thank you, there, Fred. All right, Coco, what's going on in Ward 3?
This is the opening statement. Yeah. I want to make sure you still know how to pronounce my name. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ward 3. Sandra, I love your collar. My favorite collar.
I'll buy it for you.
It might fit me too. On my way here, I like your collar too, Wendy. Oh, focus, Coco, focus. All right. On my way here, I checked my website, right? In my website, it says, these are my plans for Ward 3. I wrote that 2 years ago. And I was smiling because 90% there I accomplished. I made sure that there's neighborhood meetings happening in Ward 3. I made sure there's newsletters happening in Ward 3. I made sure I appoint prison captains. I'm all about advocating people, empowering people. So wherever you go in our ward, there's little city councilors happening in all of our ward. And in fact, tomorrow we'll be walking and door knocking in Ward 3. And I have with me 3 of the prison captains. They are residents of Ward 3 who are always ready to help me in any way I can. You cannot do this alone. To those running for ward councilors, brace yourself. This will be a very difficult job. But if you are not ready for it and you don't love the city, then forget it. You need to love the city. You need to be ready for it. And you need to face all criticisms because it will be beautiful once you accomplish something. 2 years ago, thank you, not yet. 2 years ago, I was sitting there with my good friend Sean Reed. He was my driver yesterday because there were 3 events happening, so we had to run around from one event to the other. I saw this guy, and I was like, what is he doing here? He has no opponent 2 years ago. He still has no opponent this election. But I promised myself if I win the Ward 3 election, I will be like Fred Hogan. And I'll promise myself that I will still beat him. So I've been to a lot of events, and every time I don't see him, I'll have a check mark that yes. Last week, I went to Kerwin Circle. Raise your hand if you know where Kerwin Circle is. I just want to make sure. All right. Because to tell you quite honestly, as a resident of Lynn for 22 years, I've never heard of Kerwin Circle. Maybe because I'm such isolated in that Goldfish Pond area. So they have a candidates forum. So I went there. And a lot of people met me for the first time. And you know, being there as a Ward 3 councilor and without opponent, it's an honor to be there, not just being a councilor, but at the same time a goodwill ambassador of the residents of Ward 3. Knowing that there's this guy from East Lynn, from Ward 3, went to their area and represented our ward. So it's an honor to be your ward councilor. I'm planning to continue doing it, and if you have any questions, let me know. Last but not least, my apology if we probably were driving this road. This is one of the promises we made, to fix all the roads in Lynn, especially in Ward 3. Thank you.
All right. All right. There's an abandoned house. In Ward 3, people want to know what they can do about it. They said it has like an X on it that the fire department puts on there. It's an eyesore to the community.
So, my first week in office, I got 5 calls all about abandoned houses. So I went there. Each abandoned house has individual stories. I even went to a point of calling all the family members of the owner of the house. Some of them don't want to sell it. Some of them have family troubles. Some of them don't want to talk to their parents. The house will just stay there forever. Now, the problem is the neighbors. Rats will go to the neighbors' properties. So I brought with me our law department, our ISD, our DPW. It's a team effort. It's the role of, I always tell this to everyone, the role of Ward 1 counselor, the role of ward counselor is we're like traffic enforcers, right? We wear that orange vest. Our job, every time I get a call, they will always say, I don't know who to contact at City Hall, please help me. Our job is a traffic enforcer. We'll just delegate from one person to the other, one problem to the other, and make it happen, right? A lot of our residents don't know how to reach City Hall, but if they know Coco or Fred or any of the ward counselors, it will be easier for them. So that's number 1. Number 2, it's an ongoing process. We have already successes in a couple, one in Eastern Avenue, and one actually near here in Essex Avenue. So if you have problems, please give your ward counselor a call because each house has a different issue and different problem. So thank you.
Thank you, Coco. Gentlemen, thank you. Appreciate it.
All set.
That's it. All right.
I want to ask you a question.
Coco, what kind of cologne do you have on?
Is that your phone, Coco?
My selfie.
All right, very quickly, Ward 7,
Can I bring this there?
City Councilor Jay Walsh informed me he wasn't able to make it this evening either, but he just wants everyone to know that he has the concerns of Lynn firmly on his mind, and his main concern in Ward 7 was the traffic safety where 2 students were hit by a car on Kessler Ave. Holyoke and Kessler at that corner, somewhere in that area, right? He was concerned about that, all right? So again, traffic safety, we want our children to be safe, and Ward Councilor Jay Walsh is concerned about that. Councilors at large, a lot of big issues. Let's finish up with that. We are going to start. Richard Phelps. All right, come on, Richard.
Bring us on.
We're doing 2 at a time. We'll just make it quick. Your answers have to be short. Questions can be long. Okay, please just identify yourself in the position you're running for. Start with Richard. Go right ahead.
My name is Richard Felton. I'm running for City Councilman at Large for the City of Lynn. I've been here for over 37 years in the city. I was not born here. I was not raised here. I'm a product of the state of Mississippi. I joined the military. The military took and dropped me off here. I took and got married here, raised a family here, went to college here, got a degree in criminal justice. I'm a retired veteran from the United States Navy. I'm a retired state trooper from the Massachusetts State Police. and I'm a dedicated party of the city of Lynn. I'm also part of ECHO. I'm a part of a Masonic organization. Excuse me. I'm telling you all this because I had this hell on because I just had walking pneumonia. And I'm trying to get myself back to shape, and I don't want to spread anything. That's why I'm not picking up the microphone. So please bear with me.
Thank you.
Okay? So I'm an active part within the community. And I've been here. And I've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. And it's time for a change within this city right now. We have to rise ourselves up. And me, myself, is willing to take on a job within the city councilman at large seat if I'm elected. I'm number 5 on the ballot. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
It's good to share a table with you, Mr. Farrell.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Hong Net. For those who don't know me, I came to the city of Lynn 25 years ago. I got married here, and I bought my first home in the city. This is my home. I will not go anywhere. And because Lynn was so good to me, and also my kids was born here as well. And because Lynn was so good to me, so I decided to run for city council to give back to the community. I got elected to the city council as councilor at large 2011. And have been serving this wonderful city ever since, and I'm honored to have the opportunity to serve alongside with 3 mayors, Kennedy, McGee, and now Nicholson, and with State Rep DNK here, Pete Capano, and our State Senator Brendan Craig when they were in the council with me. So that's to show that I have the connection, the experience, because I know the inside out how to get things done in our city. And so I'm running for re-election because I feel that I can use that experience to continue to serve our community in the best possible way, because by knowing the right people, by know how to get resources, it's a great thing, because the job of the councilor just make sure we work well with our colleagues, work well with the people in the state house, the federal. So that's what our job. So every day that we just make sure that as councilor at large, make sure we work with them and so get resources so to fund all the projects that are necessary for our city, to make sure we all live peacefully, prosperous, and safety for our community. That's what my job. Thank you.
The same question will be for both of you. We're going to start with Hong. You're going to start? The question is, as we all know, there is a housing crisis throughout the country, and Lynn is no exception to that. There's a demand for and a need for affordable housing in Lynn. With the average cost of a 2-bedroom unit ranging anywhere from $1,400 to $1,800, would you agree that this crisis is in Lynn and it is real? And what steps would you take to help the residents of Lynn be able to afford to live here?
It is real. It's a crisis, and it's a big issue. We all talk about it every quorum. And yes, 50% of our residents need some kind of help, especially housing. And our median income, like a little over $50,000 a year. That's not enough for a family. And like 30 to 40% already put into the rental or mortgages, which is unacceptable. So they don't have much to enjoy themselves. And so our job is just to make sure we work with our state delegation to help us to get some funding so that we can help, especially people on the poverty line, so that they don't need to pay rent at all, especially our seniors and our veterans. That's how I feel, because they live on a very fixed income and they live in their last of what they enjoy their life. So I want to make sure that they can enjoy their life. And we have to work with our developers, even though we have a trust fund places for affordable housing for 10%, but it's not enough, and we feel we need to work more to get more affordable housing for them, because it's only 4,500 affordable units in Lynn. It's not enough. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Richard, same question.
Yes, affordable housing in the city of Lynn. I think I might have spoke on this earlier. I was in a place where a young lady went to pay her rent, and she started crying because she only had $2,500, and that was her rent. And I asked her, I said, how were you going to take and live for the rest of the time? She said, well, I don't know. She says, I have to go without feeding me and my kids. So how can a family of 4 live by paying $2,500 of rent per month in the city of Lynn? I had people recently move out of the city of Lynn because they could not even afford to buy a house in the city of Lynn. So we have a major problem. And I think that even though rent control was taken out of our system, we need to take and start working with the city councilman, with the mayor, and with the state to see if we can bring some kind of financial control back within our system and put back in. We know that when you have investors coming into your city, they are not looking to come in and lose any money. Now, please understand that. They are not coming to lose any money. They are making money. It's a profit-making business. But you don't have to charge $2,500 to $3,000 for a family to take and live. When you got 3 families living in a 3-family bedroom house just to make ends meet, that's a tragedy waiting to happen in our city.
All right, thank you. Thank you for that. Now, I agree with both of you with saying that, and agreeing with me in saying that we have a housing crisis here in the city of Lynn. But what we're really looking for as constituents here are answers to these problems, all right? Richard made a very important point. This happened during the last election cycle. This did come up in the mayoral race as well. We posed this question about affordable housing. And part of the answer we got was that, again, like Richard stated, some of the investors that came in did not want to give you all of the, just say, the affordable housing prices for those units. They want to make money. Now we know in the city of Lynn, there's been development down on the Lynnway, right into Market Street. There's been development right on Blossom Street. There's been development right off of Market Street. I'm not sure exactly what, is it Oxford? I think it might be Oxford Street. There's a high-rise there. There's developments on Monroe Street. There's one right across from the courthouse, Washington Street. Are these going to be affordable housing for people to live in? Now, we understand that they all may not be that, but we need more of those units need to be affordable housing. So when our city councilors are elected, and they're making decisions what developers come in, we need them to push for more affordable housing. If they're gonna build 100 units, can we at least get maybe 30% of that? Instead of maybe 8 or 5%? But we need people to fight for that. That's what we need, people to fight for those things right there. And there's other units that have been developed across the city. I can't think of them all off the top of my head, but it's the same issue. So we agree that there's a housing crisis. We agree that all of it is not affordable, but we need more. So we're saying that to you. So if you guys are elected, believe me, there's going to be people like me and other people out there trying to hold your feet to the fire about affordable housing and what you said you were going to do, because we know what the problem is. All right? Yes. Okay, so gentlemen, we're going to end with this. You have a question for each other? Go right ahead.
I have no question.
I don't have any question for you then.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you. We have McLean and Casson. Please state your name, the office you're running for, and whether or not you're an incumbent or a challenger. And we'll take you right into the questions. Okay, we'll say ladies first.
Very well. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. My name is Nicole McLean. I am running for councilor at large. I am an incumbent, and I am an incumbent because I am stepping in to finish off Buzzy Barton's term. But not only that, I am also an incumbent because I ran for office in 2021, people voted for me, and I was not elected at that time, but I did talk the ticket for the newcomers. So that is why I was even offered a chance to finish out Buzzy Barton's term. So I did, in fact, run for office as well. I wasn't just chosen to be here. So I am running for re-election. I am number 6 on the ballot, and I'm hoping that all of you will vote for me on November 7th. And why should you vote for me? Because I am a community advocate already. I have began a nonprofit organization that I am the leader and founder of, North Shore Juneteenth Association. This organization is all about pushing out positive images of Black American culture and also spreading awareness about the Juneteenth holiday. I have worked with organizations in collaboration for the Lynn Racial Justice Coalition, where we were able to win body-worn cameras in the Lynn Police Department. We were able to bring a diversity, equity, and inclusion officer to Lynn, and we were also able to help with beginning to start an unarmed crisis response team initiative that is still being worked on right now. This unarmed crisis response team is going to bring another arm of community helpers to our city that are going to work with de-escalating crime, well, de-escalating issues in our city, such as mental health issues, drug abuse issues, and other non-violent emergencies. That's what this initiative is all about. And we could definitely use that in our city, and I'm proud to have been a part of the start of those initiatives. I've been working, like I said, in the city already without having the seat. I didn't need the seat to step up and start doing something in our city. So definitely vote for me so I can continue this work. I'm also a veteran of the Army National Guard. Thank you.
Thank you. Is this even working?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. First of all, Darrell, thank you to you. I've known you a long time. Thank you to the leadership here at the Brotherhood. I appreciate you having me here. These debates are really important. My name is Don Castle. I've been here my entire life. I'm a lifelong Lynn resident. I went to Lynn Public Schools. I started at the old Cobbett Junior High, ended up at Breed, Lynn Classical, UMass. I also went to law school. I am a licensed attorney. My brother was a police officer in Lynn. My mother worked at City Hall. I lost my father when my mother was pregnant with me. My mother was 7 months pregnant with me. My father was killed by a drunk driver on the Marsh Road. Never knew my father. I don't say that for shock value, but I say it because a lot of people grow up without a mother or a father, right? My mother taught me what it meant to go to work, go to school, pay your way. I paid my way through college, I paid my way through law school, with a little help from the government and loans, which I paid. But I'm here to offer my candidacy to you because I love this city. I've been around the entire city. I've knocked doors all over the city. I'm running because I care about people. I worked in the Lynn District Court for a long time as a probation officer. I was promoted to assistant chief in Suffolk Superior Court, the busiest criminal court in the Commonwealth, out of 100 courts. I worked in downtown Boston, I worked in downtown Lynn, Roxbury, Dorchester, all the big cities. I've seen firsthand young people of color not growing up and having 2 parents and fighting the system, getting through the courthouse. I've seen people treat people of color in the Lynn District Court different than other people, right? I know, I walk the walk and I talk the talk. I've called Darrell. Most of the people in my office in Superior Court were people of color, right? I called Darrell for his advice because my boss was really racist to us, to people in our courthouse, using terms. Darrell referred me to the NAACP in Boston to fight this person. I ended up leaving the trial court for the way this person was. I left my job and I went to Lynn City Hall. Mayor McGee hired me. I worked for the CFO for 2 years as the American Rescue Plan coordinator. I commend the council and the mayor for approving money for a lot of good projects throughout the city. I reported to the U.S. Treasury on the compliance issues. But I walk the walk and talk the talk. What I propose is I want to have the mayor create, with the city council support, an Office of Recovery Services, a mayoral level appointment to oversee street workers and the drug addiction in our city, work with our courthouse, work with our nonprofits, and address that issue. No one's talking about it anymore since COVID. So these are really important issues. Overdoses, opioid overdoses in the Black community are up over 5% since COVID. These are the things we need to talk about. Thank you.
I'm going to start with the question. Matter of fact, no, I'm going to start with you, then go. question. In the beginning of the fall, the city of Lynn experienced a rash of shootings over a short period of time. We were all somewhat shell-shocked by this, all the violence. Unfortunately, some people had lost their lives. Mayor Nicholson, along with Chief Reddy, held a public meeting at Ingalls Elementary School to address this issue and give the community an opportunity to be heard and heal. What steps would you take to ensure our residents that this is not our new normal and that you are doing everything possible to prevent it?
Thank you. I attended that meeting at that school, and it was a good crowd. It was a sad night, right? But the main thing that came out of it is we were all there together, right? People of all backgrounds and all color and all religions. We were there together working it out as a team. So I appreciate that effort. Number one, we have to make sure that the police department's fully funded, right? The police isn't the answer for everything we need to do. But we need to make sure they're fully funded. We need more outreach in the streets. We need more street workers like Antonio Gutierrez. As I said, the Office of Recovery Services coordinates street workers on the street level. We need to make sure we get the grants to keep our officers on the bikes. I also propose bringing a motorcycle unit so they can work in the parks with the kids and get off their bikes and play basketball with the kids. But we need to teach the kids. We need to have more programs for our kids in the schools. We need to make sure they're being attentive and we're taking care of them. We need to make sure that they're loved and we know where they are at night. And work with our parents and ensure that there's accountability. But that's not the norm. That what happened that night's not the norm. I walked in the anti-violence walk with other counselors. We walked all the way down to Central Square from Lynn English. I'm proud of that aspect of what we did as a community, but we need to do better with communicating and also just making sure the kids have places to go and things to do.
Thank you. Yeah. Go.
As I don't know why this isn't working for me. But,
Shut it off. Sorry.
But anyway, as I was, what I've already done actually in order to help with our youth and the violence that they seem to get into is create a task force on adolescence and youth development. So just recently, last night at our city council meeting, I made an announcement for that task force, and applications are going to be out on the website for anyone who wants to join in and help with that solution. So I have been a part of a lot of the solutions to situations such as the violence that's happening in our city. As I mentioned, the body-worn cameras for police and the unarmed crisis response team, those are things that I've been a part of in making those solutions happen. And that's without a seat. I did not have to wait to be on the council in order to see that we needed some help with our youth and making sure that what they need to be doing is being, involved in our community more, and their voices need to be heard more, and they need avenues to be successful adults. So that's what we should be fighting for, and that's what we should be working on in order to mitigate some of the violence in our city, is working more closely with our youth and making sure that they have a voice and that they know that, they are loved, cared for, and that their futures are what we have prioritized. Like at that meeting, there was a lot of people talking about mentorship. A lot of black men were standing up, talking about the programs that they created, programs that are going forward, but they don't have the funding for those programs, or they don't have the support from our city to keep those programs going. And that is something that we need as a city to do better with. We need to make sure we're funding these programs that are led by people of color that are working and want to sow seeds into our youth. And they're being run by men of color. That is something that we don't normally see, and we need to really start investing in, because it is young boys, brown and black boys, that are out here doing the things that we would rather not see them do. We want them to be educated. We want them to be stand-up men in our society, and we can do that if we just sow into them. And that's what these young black men were saying. They're mentors. They want to help our youth, and that's where we can start to mitigate violence at. Thank you.
All right, I thank both of you for your answers. I would say that I happen to be at that meeting as well. And again, it was a tough night for everybody in the city. You know, you turn on the television at night and you're hearing this people you see in the streets. Aren't you from Lynn? All this shooting, people getting killed in the city was crazy. All right, and it was a rash in a short period of time. So I thought it was great that the mayor, along with the police chief, took the initiative to have that meeting as a start to address something that was wrong. All right, I think Nicole made a great point. There were a number of people there that stood up and said that they would help in this effort and they would be mentors and things like that. But what disappointed me a little bit about that, they made these statements and they left. Not that they didn't care, but they didn't wait to get the answers and the solutions and the possible resources that they needed. So I want to find out who those guys were. Some of them I do know already, but the ones that I didn't know, I'd like to get their names and let them know that after they left, State Senator Brendan Crichton, along with people from the Sheriff's Department, the Attorney General's office was there, and they were saying that they had some resources. So me, along with other members in this community, are going to hold their foot to the fire because they said it was convenient that night, but I didn't forget it. All right? So we want those resources to help these young people, like Don and Nicole are both saying here, show them that they're loved and show them a different way, show them role models to do certain things. Because no one's justifying what's happening here, but there has to be a reason behind it. And we need to find the root of it and stomp it out because they can be better. We all can be better. So thank you. If you guys have a question for one another, we're going to end with that and we're going to move on. Don, do you have a question for Nicole? Nicole, do you have a question for Don?
I do. We've talked about schools tonight and the children of this city. You also supported the construction of the new Pickering. However, you led in stopping the new construction a few years ago, which led to high increases in the cost for this current build. How do you reconcile your decision back then? How do you reconcile your decision back then with what we are experiencing now? The high cost, et cetera.
Thank you for the question. You know, that was a site that an 85-year-old woman was going to lose her home to eminent domain. So I don't know if you were your mother or your grandmother. It's emotional to me because I dealt with that woman. And that was a site that was on cemetery land. And we asked the mayor back then and the superintendent to build it where it's being built now. So if they built it where it's supposed to be built 6 years ago, we would have had a school today, okay? So this woman, whose husband is buried in Pine Grove, could walk to her husband's grave, Mrs. Fonseca, and they were going to take her home for school. So that's why I'm against it. It's similar to the Broadway project. Eminent domain is a last resort, and we had alternatives to that. So the second part of it is 66% of the people voted no on that issue for numerous reasons, but that site was not a good site.
And you do not think that one of the reasons is a lack of education around the vote itself and around the people just not knowing what the situation was? I mean, 66% of the people voted no in what area of the city?
Is this a back and forth now? Okay, I don't mind answering it.
We're going to allow the rebuttal and we're going to end it there.
It's not really real, but I'm not sure what the question was.
The question was 66% of people voted no in what area of the city?
The entire area, it lost in every single precinct.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. All right, Brian Fields. Oh, and Roger, yes. Thank you. All right. Let's get right into it. Roger, you can start. Identify yourself and your office that you're running for, please. We're almost there, folks. Just bear with us a little bit more, a little bit more. It's important.
Thank you for the opportunity. Welcome all of you. And I'm going to be quick. I don't want to make you guys so tired. My name is Roger Garcia. I'm running for council at large. First time. I'm not a political person. I'm a businessman. I'm a very hard-working man because I believe hard work pays off. I have a beautiful family. I have 4 children. I'm married to my wife, Sunith. I also own a business in downtown, as you know, is April's. I came from the Dominican Republic. I was born and raised there until I was 16 years old. 17, I had the opportunity to come to this country, and I arrived, and I did my last year of high school on Lynn English High School. I had no family or friends or anybody here, just a few people that I knew. And Father Goudreau from St. Joseph Church actually was a person that helped me. When I first arrived, I had a cousin that allowed me to stay in the house for, for first month. Then they throw me out. Said, welfare's coming to check and you gotta go. So I had to go. So I stayed in a house without heat or hot water, middle of the winter. We don't have a bed, we don't have anything. Thank God for the priest that gave me blankets, one of those small bed, and he gave me canned food to survive. I couldn't turn the gas on because I had no Social Security. I'm number 2 in the ballot. I'm running for councilor. Please give me one of those for vote November 7th. Thank you.
Oh man, I'm trying to stand up and getting old. Before I left tonight, my wife said to me, she says, what time are you going to be home tonight? And I said, I have no idea. And she says, what do you mean you have no idea? And I showed her the program pamphlet on my Facebook, and I said, see it right here? It says 6:30. It doesn't say an end time. I have great respect for Darryl and everything he organizes. I know he's not an elected person in the city, but he does so much. And I have great respect for my colleagues on the council. I have great respect for the candidates that are running. I have great respect for people like you, Darryl. And you stole a little bit of my thunder because I was thinking about what I wanted to say. And I don't really prepare stuff in print, so it takes a little bit longer because it's coming from the heart. And you touched on the meeting that we had a few weeks ago. And after Council Barton's untimely passing, I was appointed chair of public safety and public health. It's a post that it's a highly respected post in the city. And Councilor Barton, I served on that committee with him, and then I became appointed as the new chair. And I had discussions after those recent violent events with the police chief and with the mayor. And originally it was going to be posted to have the meeting at Marshall, and I suggested to the mayor, I think moving it to Ingalls Elementary School would fit better for the community. So those are some of those tough issues. And what Darryl touched on, what he kind of left out was, he did mention that people left. Darryl stayed the whole time. And he was one of the last people to speak and to share what his ideas were. And I think I'm a lot like Darryl, where I want to listen to what people have to say, okay? And these forums are a great way to learn about those issues. And we talked about different issues in different wards. If it's an issue in Ward 1, it becomes an at-large issue. If it's an issue in Ward 2, it becomes an at-large issue. If there's an issue in Ward 3, somebody needs a rat picked up in their driveway, call me. Issue in Ward 4 and Ward 5 and Ward 6. Ward 6, we had a storm a number of years ago. Freddie reached out to Council President Walsh and myself. There was a tree that had fallen, and it was going to take hours for the utility company to get there. They could get there, but the tree was on the wires. We showed up with our chainsaws to help. That's what we do as colleagues. We're a great team. We support one another. We may disagree. We had a recent disagreement on the Broadway project. Those are issues that I sided with the residents, okay, over what the state wanted to impose. Those are tough decisions that we have to make, okay? I hope, I'm in my 3rd term right now. I'm running again for a 4th term. There's still a lot of work to be done. I hope you consider me with one of your 4 votes for councilor at large. Two.
Okay, gentlemen, now we're gonna have questions here. I'm gonna start with Roger. Lynn is a very diverse city and becoming even more and more diverse every day. Would you be in favor of initiating a plan with the mayor and your other city council members, if elected, that would create a workforce of municipal workers that would more reflect Lynn's ever-increasing diverse black and brown population?
Of course. That's one of the reasons why I'm running. So, I'm a Latino person. Being a Latino, I want to advocate for everyone. But I see that we have a tremendous need for people of color to represent us in the city hall, a school, police department, fire department, and every organization up there. We need people of color because that's what we are. We really desperately need that to happen ASAP. I'm a product of a great community. Work hard, done my best. I live by example. I'm a good citizen. I behave well, and I want to push that. I want to advocate for people that are like me, to do what I do, to walk on my shoes. And also, I want to be motivation to people to come out and vote. Very important. We need to stop being so lazy. We need people to vote. Please. And thank you for that question.
Same question. You want me to repeat? Sure.
I'll I get up.
Lynn is a very diverse city and is becoming even more so every day. Would you be in favor of initiating a plan with the mayor and your other city council members, if elected, that would create a workforce of municipal workers that would more reflect Lynn's ever-increasing diverse black and brown population? If yes, how would you do it?
Yes. So what we've done is we've created the first DEI position in the city under my terms. We worked with Mayor McGee, then who was the current mayor when we voted on this. Faustina Cuevas is our first DEI officer. The Lynn Public Schools also hired a DEI officer to serve in the Lynn Public School role. Under the past mayor, Mayor McGee again, and the council, we had our first African American fire chief, Chief Archer. He served great. You know, it's people like Stephen, like Chief Archer, that it's somebody to look up to. You know, a young black or brown young man, and Chief Archer created a program during the summer to bring in kids from high school to get them interested in a good profession of firefighting, fire service in the city. Under that, the school committee appointed our first African American superintendent, Dr. Tutwiler, and now most recently our first Latina woman. So these are steps that we're taking in city government to make it more diverse. I think if you've been to City Hall recently, you see that diversity expanding through City Hall, and it will expand through other departments. It's important for us as a city council to work together to accomplish those goals, those specific goals, and it's something I've supported, and it's something that I will continue to support if elected again.
All right, thank you. All right, gentlemen, that is your question. Do you have a question for each other? Roger, do you have a question for Brian?
I have a question. Yes. Sorry, Brian.
It's okay.
As a business owner, I have my struggle. And the reason why I have my struggle is because I understand how important it is, businesses for our community, especially the type of business that I'm in. I'm in the service industry, I own a restaurant. You, and like the other councilmen, what would you do going forward to help me not to struggle so much with decisions you guys already have made in the past that put me at risk or losing my business? What would you do to help me? Especially when it comes to parking, overcrowding the area where I'm on. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Roger. Brian?
Great question. I think when the Ward 4 candidates talked about parking issues, specifically in Ward 4 where your restaurant is, we look at the overall projects. There's some projects that we can vote on, there's some projects that are by right, which means that they're already grandfathered in to allow them to build certain types of projects in different parts of the city. Some of the specific questions that we ask, is it going to be commercial? Is there going to be commercial space? Is there not going to be commercial space? How many parking spaces? It's always something that we factor into those decisions. I know during COVID, it hit businesses really hard, especially the restaurant industry. In working through EDIC, some of those American Rescue Plan Act funds were distributed primarily to restaurants. Additionally, the mayor's office, I serve as the ARPA liaison that represents the city council with the mayor, and we fought hard to pass an additional $3 million to help restaurants, which 75% of those $3 million funds went to female and minority-owned businesses that were probably struggling even more. So those are issues that we take very seriously. Those are issues that we've supported and will continue to support. I also chair the Workforce and Economic Development, so anything that we can do kind of funnels through EDIC.
30 seconds.
And Jim Cowdell, who oversees that in his whole department, their boots on the ground right there, but we're always open to listening to anybody's concerns, and whatever we can do, we're representing you, and we want to see that support continue, not just bringing new businesses into the city to expand our commercial growth, but also support the ones that are here and make sure they have the support they need to succeed.
Thank you.
I got a question for you.
Awesome. Brian, do you have a question for Roger?
Yes, I do.
Go right ahead.
Raj, you're one of the hardest working people I know. Okay? You have an amazing restaurant. My family loves going there. When you're not working, where do you go with your family to eat?
I love this question. This is good. Well, no. I do what Freddie Haugen does. He tried to go to every restaurant in the city to support the city. And I do order out a lot. My kids Uber all the time out of places in Lynn because about $50 million a year goes outside of Lynn to eat out. I want to keep things in Lynn. But I think that we all should be doing the same thing. I like to stay in Lynn and support my community, especially struggling restaurants like there's not that many in downtown. And I would love to have another opportunity to ask another question.
All right. Thank you both. Appreciate it. All right, folks, we're almost there. Just hang tight with us a little bit more. It's been a great night. Elizabeth. Okay. All right. Say it's midnight.
I just want to say something else. Elizabeth was expecting to come tomorrow night. She had another event to go to tonight. So she came in. She thought she'd be able to speak, but she said she had to babysit her grandchild.
Okay, Brian Lapierre. Jose Encarnacion. Grand finale.
What a challenge.
All right, gentlemen, let's get right into it. We're going to start with Brian. Identify yourself, let people know whether you're an incumbent or a challenger.
Okay, I may be last tonight, but I'm first on the ballot, November 7th.
Let's go fast. I appreciate your patience and hanging in there. I am an incumbent councilor at large. I want to remember Buzzy Barton, his family. I want to thank CMCC. I want to thank the AALC for hosting this every election cycle. It's a pleasure to be with you. I could talk biography for a couple minutes, but why don't I talk about action? I've been on the council now since 2016. You were entrusted in me 4 terms now, running for a 5th term. The 4 pillars that I consider accomplishments, very important. This is hard work and a full-time job. Accessibility, you call me, you get a call back. I work well with the ward councilors. We work together as a team, whether it's school committee, the council, the mayor, Mayor Nicholson. We are at it 24/7. Affordability, affordability, affordability. Not just affordable housing, not only affordable housing, but new units on Porter Street at Marshall Middle School, new units up in Linfield Street, but even inflation, jobs, youth, creation of jobs. Where are kids working in the city of Lynn? How do we provide summer youth opportunities? How do we get to the crux of keeping kids off the street but put them on payroll? Make sure they're working in our small businesses. Make sure they're in the downtown, learning trade, learning smart growth. How do we build our Linway up? Where's our infrastructure going? These are all the things that city councilors work side by side with. And another point I want to say is opening up City Hall, making it more user-friendly, making it more come to you, whether it's online payments or accessibility, using the website, coming down to City Hall, feeling welcomed, getting an answer when you walk in the door, 30 seconds. I am proud to end this portion of the forum, with the fact that my colleague spoke about a little bit, Council Field. We are making strides at City Hall. City Hall proper went from 11% BIPOC, biracial person of color, to now 35% in 5 years. And these aren't menial positions. We just appointed Jessica Chapini, I know you're familiar with her, our first African-American parking director. That's a director role, that's a high-level cabinet position at City Hall. It's not a menial task, we have to continue to do that. We must do better. It's only a start, and I'm up to the task. I've got the energy, passion, and I'm ready to take on the job still. Thank you.
Well, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm Jose Encarnacion. I'm running for City Council at large for my 3rd time. So you can see I'm a fighter. But I'm married. I'm a proud father of 6 children. They all went to school here, to the public school here in Lynn. My 4 older children graduated from college. I'm very proud of that. Why I'm running? I'm running because that's my passion to service. I have a passion for service. I'm running because I love the city of Lynn. I'm running because, as you can see, the city of Lynn is very diverse. And we need to see that diversity at the City Hall as well. So, I'm running because we need strong leadership to advocate to policies like rent control and first-time home buyer support, so we can continue to live with dignity in the city we call home. We humbly ask that you give me one of your 4 votes on November 7th. We are the last for tonight, and I'm the last on the list. Make me one of the first 4 on November 7th. Thank you.
All right, Jim, we're going to go with your question right now. We're going to start with Jose. We'll start with Jose. Brian, you can finish up. Okay. Question. It is often said that first impressions and appearances are very important. Would you agree or not agree that Lynn can improve upon its physical appearance upon entry? Specifically, its major thoroughfares and landmarks, such as Route 107, Western Ave, goes right through the whole city, all the way from Lynn to Salem. That's the first thing that people see when they're driving through the city. They're going right down Western Ave, the whole city. Eastern Avenue, Boston, Chestnut, Broad and Essex Streets. The landmarks may include City Hall Square, Central Square, Market Square, and Wyoming Square. what steps would you take to improve upon Lynn's city image?
First of all, I thank you so much for the question. I would like to thank you all of you for taking the time to be here, to be so patient. Thank you, Daryl. Definitely agree. I think the fair expression is so important, and we need to change the impression of Lynn. Lynn, one of the things that I think we can make Lynn, we can make it better so we can receive tourism. We can receive people to visit Lynn and to spend money in the city of Lynn. But for that, we need to have not only on Western Avenue, Lynn Way, but downtown. Sometimes I walk around downtown, and you know the streets are dirty, and we need to have a better clean city so we can receive more people visit, and so we can feel proud. I am proud of being a Lynner because I've been here for 40 years, and I think Lynn is my home. But how we can feel more proud if we can work together and make, once I get elected, work with the other elected official and the mayor and the representative. We're going to advocate to make city a cleaner city, a better city that we can receive more people to visit us, and that way people are going to, investors are going to come and invest in the city of Lynn. They're going to create more jobs, and they're going to, and people are going to come from outside to visit our city, and then we're going to feel very proud, and more proud than we are now. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to go back to an old slogan that may be familiar to some of you. It was called Step Up in Lynn. Step Up with Lynn. Gateway city that we are. We have entry points, as Darryl pointed out. We need sort of a repurposeful, a 21st century, a modernization of our gateway city when you enter it. Beautification program. Getting businesses to step up with Lynn. Having them adopt islands again. Work in Lynn Business Partnership. Every school in Lynn in the 80s had a school that they were assigned to by the business community. I remember my Brickett School, elementary school on Lewis Street. You know it well. 9X was our sponsor. And we did things with that business, and they taught us job skills. Beautification starts at home. It continues throughout our city. We have so many focal points, so many areas of opportunity, and we're not harnessing it enough. We've got to get back to basics, folks. Step Up with Lynn is a great slogan, and it's a great image. We're the shoe city of the world, of the nation. We should take pride. Another one, Al DiVigilio. Capture the pride. Okay? Made postcards of all our landmarks. The Commons, the gazebo, the Goldfish Pond, Pine Grove Cemetery, second largest wallet. We know our history. Let's embrace it. Let's not be afraid of it. Let's grab the image by the horns and run with it. And that's what I want to do. Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, thank you for that. And we're going to end. Do you guys have a question for one another? Jose, do you have a question for Brian?
I have a simple question.
Yeah, you're going to lose. I would never.
You know,
go ahead.
Yeah.
Fire away. I'm ready.
I am aware that I'm next to a giant, right? Well, last election, I was supporting, how do you call it? I forgot the word, but I have it here. Inclusionary zoning. And I agree that we need to have at least 25 to 30% of units for affordable housing. The actual incumbents, they approve a 10%, which I think it is not enough. Will you, on the next time that we meet, when I win to, and I'm there with you, we'll be supporting another. I'm gonna put on the table that we need 25 to 30%. Will you be willing to support that ordinance?
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Darryl. Thank you, Jose. You know, we had a change in mayor, right? From Mayor McGee to Mayor Nicholson. That housing production plan took too long to pass, in my estimation. It should have been passed much sooner. When it finally passed, it was the beginnings of something. It was a first committee effort. I'd say it was the ground, not the ceiling. I don't know if it's 25 or 30. I don't know that magic number. I know 10 can be higher. I do know that before we have a tipping problem and no one wants to develop here. I also know that I'm not in favor of giving tax breaks to those developers who want to come into our city but not build the affordable housing. It's critical that it goes hand in hand. You want an incentive, you've got to build more, like you're talking about, Jose. In order to do that, you must keep them accountable. There has to be community benefits. And the benefit right now is trying to make rent. So this is important for our families, for our households, and I support an increase. And whenever that comes up, I will be in favor of that. So yes, I will support an increase in our current housing production plan. However, Mayor Nicholson and the council and all the other stakeholders want to approach that. So yes, thank you.
Brian, you have a question for Jose?
I will not put the audience through a question. Thank you very much. Good night.
All right, folks, one thing before we go, thank you everybody for coming out and supporting this effort. And I want to recognize city school committee person, Lynn Pena, right here. All right, so thank you all, everybody, really appreciate it. Hopefully, everybody will come out on November 7th and vote. It's very important. We have covered a lot of important issues last night. And again, Lynn is on its way up. We got some great people running for office. It's up to you to make the change. Thank you very much.